Hello! Welcome to Adventures in TV Land. For today's adventure, I've come to Nashville, Tennessee, roughly Nashville, Tennessee, to see Andrew Jackson's The Hermitage, the home and final resting place of General and President Andrew Jackson, who was the 7th President of the United States. So let's go and check it out. Alright, so in the visitor center, there is a small museum about Andrew Jackson. It talks about the new Americans, and here is kind of a timeline leading up to the War of 1812. Here's a display on the Battle of New Orleans, which Andrew Jackson was the victor. There's a display of what they wore on the celebration ball. It became known, this time period when Jackson became president, became known as the Age of Jackson. Now here are some items actually owned by Andrew Jackson. There's a watch fob, a medal, and his medicine chest, as well as his eyeglasses. This is talking about the war, the election of 1824, which Jackson won. Here's the mourning hat that he wore to his wife's funeral. The death of his wife while in office, it was a major tragedy for Jackson. He never did recover. And here is Rachel's original tombstone. And this is Andrew Jackson's personal private carriage.
A homegrown tyrant. He said America doesn't have anything to fear from abroad. What we have to fear is...
There's another item of Jackson's, a pocket watch that was given to him by a French American citizen after winning the Battle of New Orleans. And there is a locket of Andrew Jackson's hair. This placard just kind of talks about how the landscape and the grounds have changed over time. That's kind of interesting. The trees, the lining here, the line of double trees, each one of them came from a battlefield where Andrew Jackson had fought. Now here's a look at the driveway of the original entrance into the Hermitage. People are no longer allowed up this way. And there is the mansion, Now, no photos or videos are allowed inside the mansion. However, the buildings outside it's perfectly okay to take photos and videos. Those are the slave bells. So the servants, the slaves, they were on call basically 24 hours a day. This is a peek inside the kitchen.
Or baked in Dutch ovens over coals on the hearth. The trapdoor you see under the table leads to a small pit cellar where root vegetables could be stored close at hand. During the years of Jackson's retirement, the head cook was Betty, a slave whose mother had earlier been the cook. In all, about 10 slaves regularly served the household, including kitchen and dining room workers, cleaning maids, and laundresses, all under the direction of Hannah.
Here we got the smokehouse. Detached from the house, of course. Here's the back side of the mansion. This is a map here of the grounds of the Hermitage. The Hermitage isn't just the mansion, it is the entire property. Now this cabin is the cabin of Andrew's, one of his slaves named Alfred. Alfred loved the Jacksons and he wanted to be buried next to them. And after the Civil War, him and he lived here in this cabin. He had a little plot of land of his own. This is inside Alfred's cabin. Years later, when the Hermitage became a museum, Alfred was the wagoner and groundskeeper. This placard is about the spring house, and there's the spring house right there. Now this placard here is about the first Hermitage, which was the first house that Andrew Jackson had. After he built his mansion, he turned the house into a slave quarters. There it is, the original Hermitage. Now these are, actually they got that glass there, it shows you those are some of the original beams that Jackson put in place here. This placard is about the garden, which also is has the family cemetery as well. Andrew Jackson was an avid gardener. There's a labyrinth here of flowers. So Andrew Jackson was a Mason. I did not know that. That is the tomb of Andrew Jackson, 7th President of the United States, victor of the Battle of New Orleans, in Suppression, War 52. His wife Sarah. And here is the grave of Alfred, who was Andrew Jackson's slave, lived here even when it was a museum, was a caretaker here, and whose house we just saw earlier. Now this placard here, we're still on the Hermitage grounds, but we're away from the mansion and the museum, and we're at the site of the Hermitage Church. It was a non-denominational church that Jackson had built here. It was active until 1965. There's this plaque here. Hermitage Church, erected in 1823 by the citizens of the community. Andrew Jackson, influenced by his wife Rachel Donaldson Jackson, gave the land in the largest contribution. Now the original church burnt down, and this church was built in 1836, I believe it said. It was 1830 something. But you can see where the original, in this building, and things have changed a little bit, but where the original windows were. In between the new windows. And also here on the grounds are approximately 500 graves of soldiers from the Confederate rest home. That was just up the road about a half a mile. Well, this has been another adventure in TV land where we have visited the Hermitage, the home and burial grounds of President Andrew Jackson. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you disliked, hit the dislike button. Subscribe to my channel for further content and ring that bell for email notifications. And if there's some place that you would like to see me visit, or you have a suggestion about some future video you would like to see, leave a comment in the comment section. And if you've enjoyed any of the adventures in TV land, you can help support this channel by going to either Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon and making donations or becoming members at either one of those two places. Or you could also hit the super thanks button below, the little heart. You can hit that thing and that'll make a donation directly to me through YouTube. So you could do that as well. Thank you for watching. Until next time, that's a wrap. I think Bill and Ted kidnapped Andrew Jackson. Because I don't think there was a Wonder Ice truck here in the 1800s.